Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3. My name is Mitch Bolo. We are here with Mr. Donald Chosa. Hello, Don. Welcome to the studio.
Hello. Bonjour.
All right, so ground rules first. We know each other, but we'll cover the basics first and we'll expand from there. You have 60 minutes. You can use as much time as you'd like or as little. And basically, the only kind of ground rule we have here is no talking about other people. Keep it kind of positive as possible, even if there's some negative aspects. These are straight cut episodes with 10-minute break points because of Don's camera here. This camera right here is the silly camera. So other than that, these are straight cut episodes. Okay, so once again, thank you very much for being here and doing this.
You're welcome.
So let's start with the basics. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're coming from, things like that, because this is for everybody out there.
All right. Well, anin gina beba wemetang edition cause. My name is Wolves Howling All Around You. My English name is Donald Chosa. I was enrolled at KBIC when I was a year old in 1959. Both my parents, now deceased, were also enrolled in KBIC. My dad was also enrolled in the Minnesota Chippewa tribe, where I was also enrolled, because dual enrollment was allowed at that time. We moved to the reservation in Minnesota, and we were raised without running water or electricity after my dad retired when I was 5 years old. A lot of people on the reservation were fluent speakers, so we grew up always hearing the language. We came to KBIC often to visit. We eventually moved here. My dad was a trapper and a fisherman setting nets, and we all participated in harvesting wild rice and blueberries every year. My dad sold smoked fish on the highway here in his later years. We grew up making birch bark baskets to sell for extra income. I started dancing at powwows when I was little, and we still continue to do that. I'm a veteran, and I served a term in the United States Marine Corps. After that, I attended various colleges. In my mid-20s, I started teaching language and culture at the Lance Berga schools, and I got to use manila cards with a magnetic strip with the voice recordings of the fluent KBIC tribal members, elders. I also attended language classes at the church basement with Father John and the last fluent KBIC ladies. I started teaching at the NMU Center for Native American Studies and taught at various colleges and universities for over 15 years. I've worked as a tribal grant writer and a grant administrator for a tribe in Minnesota. I have 6 children with my wife, who is an enrolled Ojibwe. And although I'm retired, I currently serve on the KBOCC Board of Regents, the Wikweidong Ogichida Society, the KBIC Enrollment Committee, and I'm very involved with the Ojibwe Senior Citizens, in which I'm a member.
All right, so let's jump right into some of these questions here from the KBIC Tribal Members Facebook page. Yep. This first one is from Carrie Ashbrook, and I want to apologize to Valerie Vokes because I messed up questions in this last episode here. But this is from Carrie Ashbrook. What is your motivation to run for council?
Okay. Well, I decided to run for a seat on a tribal council because I felt there was a need to support the community in their endeavors to better the reservation. Our reservation is our homeland, and we need more full-time positions with benefits for the tribal members to keep the talented tribal members here. I would like the opportunity to use my business, grant, and budget experience to help the tribe make decisions to move forward. And I'm also very involved in language and cultural teaching.
All right, so let's go to another question from Carrie here then. And what do you think is the greatest challenges facing our tribe, and what should we do to move forward? Like, kind of what's your game plan hitting the ground?
Well, I think the greatest challenge is keeping our tribe balanced financially and teaching the tribe language and culture so we can keep existing as a tribe. I think that we need to ensure economic stability, and we need to develop and strengthen maybe a 4 or 5 year strategic plan and follow it. There should be monthly meetings with all the department heads. There should be an enterprise business board under the tribal council to keep the strategic plan on track. We need to think out of the box and diversify business ventures without depleting our resources, and every venture should have a fully developed contingency plan.
Okay, so can you go a little bit into your history with tribal politics?
My history with tribal politics is, well, my dad, like I said, he was enrolled in Minnesota Chippewa tribe with the Bois Forte tribe, and he served a term there as a tribal chairman. And so, I always paid attention to, the things that he did when he served. My wife also served at Bois Forte on the tribal council as a district representative, and so she was elected on there, and so I have a lot of experience with tribal politics. I was also here during the when they had to take over and all the issues that they were having then, and so teaching at Northern Michigan University and Michigan Technological University, I was able to do some things that helped out.
All right. So we're coming up on this first timer here. Actually, we're not coming up on the first timer. I'm just giving myself a really big cushion. We're going to reset these cameras right now. Cameras are reset. And, this isn't really an individual question from the Facebook page. This is just an overall topic. A lot of people are concerned with financial stability and economic development. So where are you coming at in that category?
Well, one of the things that I thought was interesting was I attended Minnesota Indian Elders trip to the Nottawasepi Band of Potawatomi, and we got to tour their hydroponic greenhouse. They said that they needed food for their healthy foods for their school children, and their greenhouse, which has been in operation for 2 years now, is providing food for them, but now it's also providing food for the tribal membership. And something that KBIC could possibly do is maybe have a health food co-op that could turn a profit and counter some health issues in a positive way. And we could do that with maybe with our own hydroponic greenhouse. Some other things that I was instrumental in at Bois Forte as a grant writer is I wrote a grant for a tribal transit, and it was it started out small, but then it took on a life of its own, and now they have 12 transit vehicles or buses that and the tribal members are able to use that transit, and it also they charge a fee so that
Yeah.
so it's self-sufficient.
And it provides jobs.
Yeah, and it provides jobs. Yeah.
All right, so you're all about kind of starting businesses and building things that can grow. Because you mentioned it started off and got a life of its own, as things often do.
Yeah, I think another thing too that that I would like to see is that I would like to introduce plans for a historical cultural museum and heritage center, because there's a need for a repository for our historical items, so we can teach future generations and keep our history. And I would like to meet with the grant writer and seek funding for projects like that.
Okay, so this question comes from Christine M. Mackey. She asks, how would serving fit in with your other responsibilities?
Well, my other responsibilities are on a volunteer basis. I'm retired, so
okay.
I have it would fit in perfectly, I would think.
So you're ready to really jump in with it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on here to some more questions. And this is one because we're also interviewing the candidates for associate judge. So this is a question for both them and you. With the growing epidemic on drug abuse, increased tribal children in foster care, what has the tribe done to battle or should be doing to decrease this ongoing problem?
Well, I think that the drug court here is very important and good. And I think that, is a good thing for the community. The treatment center is another positive thing, along with the new halfway house. I see positive steps being taken already to combat the drug problem. There's a lot of reservations that don't have what KBIC has here. So it's a really good situation that they're in. The thing that I could think of is maybe that we could teach kids at a younger age about the dangers of drugs. My oldest son is a DARE officer in Minnesota, and that's what he does. He goes and works in the schools with the DARE program, and a lot, a lot of those kids as adults remember the things that they learned in his DARE program.
Okay, so going to a different topic here. Question is from Sarah Garver, and she puts it out there pretty straightforward. Will the council ever be for all members on and off the reservation, which I think is referring to off-res members being able to vote and stuff like that? What's your stance on that?
I think the voting should be for the tribal members that live on a ceded territory. I think that all voting should take place in person. I don't think that there should be any absentee voting by mail, because I've seen how corrupt that system can become.
All right, then just kind of go with those other technical questions here. This is from Carrie Ashbrook. What is your view on term limits?
No, I don't think that there should be term limits, because I believe that term limits would take away the power from the tribal members, because the voting process shows who the constituency wants.
Is this your first time going for a council member position?
Yes.
It is. Okay, so this is your first time out campaigning, or have you had experience campaigning with others?
I've had experience campaigning with others. I did run for a tribal judge in the past.
Okay.
And
sorry if you mentioned that. But how's the campaigning going now? Have you been out and about?
I've been talking to people.
Okay.
I haven't been going door to door, but I think I see almost everyone that I know everybody, and I'm always at all the public events, with that the tribe has, and the harvest feast and powwows, and I think that I'm able to reach everyone that I can reach, mostly at public gatherings, and also I'm always on Facebook, and I'm available 24/7.
When you are talking with people, what are some of those main topics and issues you're talking about with people?
Well, some of the things that they talk about is that they need more. What I've heard most often, I would say, is that we need more full-time jobs on the reservation.
Okay.
So.
And the things that come with that full-time job, typically.
Yeah, with benefits, so that families can live here and make a decent living.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very, very economic-minded there, and then, but also you mentioned how heavy you are in the culture. So let's go to Christina Wanape's question then, because you hit on both aspects of it. Christina Wanape asks, what is going to be done to strengthen our Ojibwe language and culture here at KBIC? We need to think about our future generations and what we leave for them.
Yeah. Well, as a grant writer in Minnesota, I wrote a ANA grant, Administration for Native Americans, a language grant, and that was a pretty big grant, and with that we were able to, carry on a language table for a number of years. And in that language table, there were at least 4 of the people that attended the language table were able to go on and get their Minnesota state teaching licenses for teaching language and culture in K through 12.
So would you say culture is pretty influential to you? Like when you're in a council meeting speaking, will that be something that influences how you interact?
Well, all the time, because I was raised that way, actually. So,
okay, very good.
Culture is a part of me.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Here's another question from Christine M. Mackey. Wait a minute. Let me check. We have 6.5 there. We should be good. One more question, then we'll reset the timers. I don't want to run out.
Yep.
What does success look like for you while serving on tribal council?
For me, would be able to success to me would be to have develop a strategic plan. I don't know if they have a strategic plan or if they follow the strategic plan, but to me that would be part of it. I think that if we could do something with the historical cultural museum, so that we can have those repository for historical items, that would be something that I would look forward to. I know that they were having a language table here, but that recently has come to a close for whatever reason. And I think that we need to continue, with efforts to strengthen our cultural and language teachings.
All right, very good. We're resetting the cameras. Okay, cameras are back up and running. Okay, so we have a few more things I want to cover here, but I did want to go to this question. Let's see, it's from Doris Herrera, I do believe. Would you run for council if you were not getting paid as much as you are now, or if there was no pay for council? Is that something that motivates you, or is that just off the table?
It's kind of off the table because right now I don't work, but I'm retired, and I'm actually on SSDI and
Which is
Social Security disability,
okay.
and so I wouldn't be able to accept the full amount of pay that the other council members get.
I gotcha. Okay. So for you, it really is. You're there to do the work.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to this. Well, we'll throw this one out there from Marsha Lou Farr. She says, my biggest questions are, number one, who would be willing to work to change the Constitution so that it would include all members who live in Baraga County and would allow... Oh, you've already expressed your opinion on that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Talked about voting.
Let's go down to one of these new questions down here. You also mentioned you want a strategic plan. Blood quantum. What are your views on blood quantum?
Well, I believe that at this point in time, that everyone who was on the original base rolls for KBIC, they should have been made 100% Ojibwe blood quantum, because at that time they were following the white man's perception of what was an Indian, and much of it was incorrect. And so, we need to protect our blood and teach our children at a young age about blood quantum and how it affects us. And, that's what I believe about blood quantum. Maybe at some point in the future, maybe 7 generations from now, they might make another change to with other ideas about blood quantum. But that's what I believe would be the thing that should be done right at this point in time.
I feel like you and I could do an entire show just on that topic, probably. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go to this next question. I haven't asked anybody this one yet. Jessica Pose, what are your views on using technology to propel our tribe into the future?
Well, teaching at Northern Michigan University, I was the first one to teach Ojibwe language on WebCT, or distance learning, as a web-based class.
Yeah.
And so I've been working with technology in that way. I also helped to develop a computer program for language, that you can download onto your iPhone or.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And so I have that. I helped with that computer program.
So you're all about using technology then, just got to use it the right way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm thinking that I covered a lot of these questions. They really are. A lot of them are about financial stability. Well, okay, this one would require a little bit of past knowledge and keeping up, which I haven't even really kept up on it myself. But what do you think about the current casino projects?
I think that they're good that they're doing that. I wish that we actually had a hotel in Marquette where there was some way, and I think that they really need to step up those efforts so that we can continue getting casino revenue, and so that revenue can increase.
Yeah, because not just here, but I think trends across the country are revenues from gambling are decreasing.
Yeah, they're decreasing. And so I think that we need to get on top of that game and offer the best services that we can at our casinos that we have, and keep them up to par with the other casinos in the area.
Very good. Okay, so I guess I'll give you the opportunity now to, is there a topic or issue that I did not cover that you'd like to go over?
Well, not that I can think of right now.
Ooh, that means I'm getting better. Is there something that you were scared I was going to ask but did not ask?
No, because I can't even think of anything that you didn't ask.
Okay, good. So I think that means we covered it pretty well, eh? Yeah. All right, so let's give you this opportunity then to give your last points of campaign, your last words to your voters, or to the voters out there. All the voters are voters.
Okay. Well, I would like to say I would be honored to have the opportunity to serve you, the tribal members, And if elected, I'll work as hard as I can, and I really don't have much to gain from it, but it's just something that I feel that my past experience and knowledge, that I have something to offer. So, miigwech.
Thank you for being here.